now been established that over 80,000 households and businesses in Accra, in some of Accra's most popular suburbs, have been affected by the computer glitch that's made it impossible for them to buy electricity. The glitch, which occurred on December 1, meant that prepaid customers of the Electricity Company of Ghana within particular suburbs could not buy power from the vending stations in their localities as they've always done, unless they show up at the main office at Circle, which is said to be the nerve center of the network. The project office is, however, not designed to handle the numbers that are turning up, and so has left officials there overwhelmed. Bernice Abubedu was at the ECG office and reports officials are hopeful they can address the challenges by this weekend.
There was a lot of chaos as thousands thronged the ECG project office near the Circle interchange here in Accra. Some of them have been here as early as 3 a.m. just so they can buy electricity to charge their prepaid meters.
This gentleman had to trade his slipper for this envelope.
I'm very angry. It has been a week without electricity. Can you imagine that I got here at 3:30 and I was number 470 in the queue? They told us to go and come back and that they will call us. Now my phone is off. I don't have power to charge it. So how can they call me?
I've lost 5,000 cedis worth of meat in my cold store. Why?
We are dying. Oh, our leaders should rise up to the task. Since Saturday, I have not had lights. I have been here since Monday. I slept here yesterday and got here around 3:30 a.m. I haven't worked since Monday because of the situation.
Yes, 6 o'clock. Lights.
We're told to come here, so we can't do illegal.
They want us to do illegal connection, and we will do that.
It's been a really tough one trying to get those who came in yesterday to gather around the PA system so the announcer can call out the names and they pick up their cards. These people who were given the numbers at dawn are currently moving to this part of the facility to pick up envelopes so they can drop their cards in and come again tomorrow to pick up their cards.
There was also an envelope problem which some of the stranded customers decided to exploit. Though ECG has continued to reassure the public that the problem has been resolved, many of the customers are not satisfied.
I dropped my card yesterday. I just came for it this morning, but it's still not working, so I've brought it back.
General Manager for Revenue Protection, David Asamoah, explains why the situation has become chaotic and says it should be over by the weekend.
The situation we have at hand is purely engineering. If you go to the districts, we have just 1 or 2 district engineers here. But this place, all engineers in ECG, you can get them here. We have set up a lot of workstations. So the engineers here are working here. If we take the engineers to go to the district, we'll have problem because the server is here and it's faster. Had it not been the confusion here, I'm sure by close of day, we should have done close to 80–90% of the situation. But I'm sure nobody won't take anybody to next week. No.
The lack of an essential commodity, electricity, has caused thousands of people to gather here at the projects office of the Electricity Company of Ghana. I must bring in some clarity here that those suffering this situation are those who are using the card. But for those who use the smart meters, where they have to go to a vendor and key in their details and the credit is transferred directly onto their meters, they don't have any issue. We've had people tell us that this situation will force them to connect themselves to the grid illegally. This is a situation that ECG officials tell us will not go into next week. Hopefully, our customers will be served and the situation will be solved. From the ECG Projects Office here at Circle in Accra, I'm Bernice Abubedu reporting for Joy News.
We'll be hearing from the ECG management in a bit, but the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission is threatening to sanction the Electricity Company of Ghana over the network challenges that has left over 80,000 of its prepaid customers stranded. This was after it said ECG failed to submit details of the emergency response measures it carried out following the system's failure. Executive Secretary Mamidou Fiofore describes as disappointing the ECG's management of the problem. Nancy Emefajiradozi has more.
The PURC says ECG failed to meet the Wednesday deadline to submit its emergency response measures and now has until close of work Friday to explain why sanctions should not be imposed.
As a commission, it's apart from the fact that we do request for information, we also look at the timeliness of the response. And with ECG, we gave them up to 4 p.m. To respond to us on the 6th of December. That was yesterday, to give us an update on the measures or details on the measures. And by 4 o'clock, they had not responded. So definitely we had to kick in our enforcement rules. And so this was one of the things that necessitated us. They requesting for a show of course for them to show the reason why we should not apply the monetary sanctions. That is why we had to go towards the second phase of the sanctions. We have given them up to the end of the day on December 8th.
Meanwhile, the PURC has also threatened to apply more sanctions as stipulated in its acts if ECG fails to honor its promise to solve the problem by close of day Thursday.
We contacted ECG again, and as they have said, they have given us up to the end of today. And we are waiting and hoping that we'll be monitoring, we are continuously monitoring to see the pace at which this is being handled. By the end of today, if they do not meet whatever promises they have given, then we will go into our books and our acts and whatever enforcement procedures we have to undertake. Just apart from the one of the monetary penalties, we would then start the process of applying those penalties.
The PURC says the power providers could have done more to alleviate the problem.
Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana has explained that a malfunction of its server rendered tens of thousands of prepaid customers' cards inactive. Managing Director Samuel Boakye-Appiah urged customers who cannot purchase credit to visit ECG offices in the Accra West District for reactivation of their cards. He added there's a plan to make it possible for customers to purchase power through an ECG mobile phone application.
The BOT prepayment system failed on Sunday, December 3rd, 2017 at 7 a.m. By Monday, we were able to vent to any customers within our Kolebu, Kaneshie, Dansoman, and Achimota districts of Accra West operational area. Because of the huge numbers at the project office, we advise customers to leave their cards with their contact numbers or any form of identity for their cards to be reactivated, after which they will be called to pick the cards. And many customers will testify that this morning they came to pick their cards as we promised. From this morning, we have been clearing the backlog, and immediately the cards are reactivated, customers can vend at any vending points in their districts. So once the cards have been reactivated, customers can vend at any point, any of our vending stations or in any of our district offices. Please kindly note that the current challenge has to do with customers whose cards need reactivation because of the initial challenges we had with the server. All customers on the build, operate, and transfer prepayment system can now vend smoothly, apart from those who purchase credit after 14th November 2017. And whose cards need to be reactivated because of the initial fault that occurred on the server. In order to reduce congestion at the project office, customers are advised to deposit their cards and phone numbers at our district offices. Going forward, The company intends to ensure that all its prepayment metering systems will be smart, devoid of customers visiting vending points, but instead utilizing a mobile application to purchase credit online.
Now, former President Mahama has been accused of inappropriately taking over lands belonging to the military whilst in office. Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul at a news conference on Thursday said the military land had been generally mismanaged by politicians who colluded with personnel of the Lands Commission. The ex-president, according to the minister, was presently occupying one such land and demanded that he vacated.
And I think that the way that armed forces lands were handled, I'm not happy about it. That we decided to sell that land to ourselves, including top politicians, are living in there. And I think there's a shame that we did that. Because now we have squeezed the armed forces in Burma camp. And I think that if I have my will, and we are still going Barry because we're in a democracy, I would have gone after those people. It's not good. Within 2 years, we sold every piece of land, over 300 acres of land, to individuals. So that what happens? Top politicians who are supposed to have provided and covered the armed forces were now writing to the armed forces to say that if you have no money, I think the AG did that. If you have no money, then release the land to the owners, not knowing they were buying the lands themselves. How can you do this? I want to advise the former president that he should look for a place and live, because that is a very dent on him. It's not good for him. Because he was a president. He shouldn't live there. I am not satisfied with the state of that land, and I would advise the former president to leave that place. Because it's not good. He should have protected the armed forces. But today, if you are living in that area, you are giving others the impetus to do what they are doing. And it's not good for us. I'm talking to the Prime President, John Mahama.
On the anti-Galamsey clampdown, the minister said 673 people have so far been arrested since the start of Operation Vanguard, and that the Navy has also moved in to augment the nationwide operation against illegal mining.
673 people have been arrested within that period. The excavators that were seized and were still working on the field, 143. Then the Shamfai machines, those locally manufactured machines, they call the Shamfai machines, 1,719. The arms and ammunition that were seized within the period, the arms were 28, the varieties, different varieties, bomb action, different ones, 28 varieties were seized. Ammunitions, 301 various natures were also seized. They have moved the Navy to go augment the efforts of the Operation Vanguard people who were originally on the ground. So the numbers are more than the 400.
Mr. Nitiwul will also bemoan the terrible state of infrastructure for the military, which he says has a housing deficit of around 6,000 homes.
If you ever have time, visit a barracks, visit Tamale, and go to Airborne Force, visit Kamina, and go to 6BN, visit 2BN in Sunyani, visit 4BN in Kumasi, or visit Takrado, or even Accra here, and see where the soldiers are sleeping. The only thing you can do is to cry and to weep. Because just outside them, we are all assisting living in posh houses, big mansions, air-conditioned houses. And the people who are supposed to help us, support us, guide us, are sleeping in places that if they ask you to sleep, you may refuse. The housing deficit as we sit today within the Ghana Armed Forces is more than 6,000 homes. I'm talking of housing deficit. If I were to remove the dilapidated houses that people sleep in, then we will be having close to 10,000 housing unit deficit.
The Defense Minister also stated his outfit will soon review some of the terms of ownership of the Armed Forces Shoe Factory and questioned why one individual will own 60% of the shares.
The reason why the Ghana Armed Forces decided that as part of their vision, they will relook at defense industries. So they set up a few industries, including the Kumasi Shoe Factory. that was supposed to have been. But that is another area I think that I'm still investigating. Up to now, we are not able to hold one single board meeting because for some reason, government wanted to give a loan with a grant of 6 million Ghana cedi from either ID fund or one of these funds. We then pick an individual, gave him this money, and gave out, as part of the 6 million, a grant of 4 million. And that individual has 60%, and armed forces 40%. I have paid a lot of money to this individual. Nobody is accountable to me because the individual believes the company is for him. That's why Kumasi Shoe Factory is having the problem that it's having. The structure was wrong. Armed Forces has no control over the shoe factory. So they just name it Armed Forces Shoe Factory. It's not true. It's owned by an individual, 60%. And I think that that will also be reviewed. These are some of the decisions that went very wrong. But soldiers cannot act because we're in a democracy.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but still ahead in the bulletin. Bird flu strain identified as cause of recent mysterious deaths at Kumasi Academy. They will be live at a news conference called by the Ministry of Health in a bit. When we come back from the break, actually, do stay tuned. We'll be back in a bit. Now, health authorities have extended the period for administering antibiotics at Kumasi Academy to allow for all students and teachers to be covered. Officials had hoped to complete the 3-dose exercise on Thursday. About 202,990 students and teachers are being given the antibiotics. Ohimintuya, who first broke the story, has more. After that, we intend to bring you the details from the news conference called by the Health Ministry.
The World Health Organization supplied azithromycin, a broad-spectrum antibiotic for management of a suspected bacterial disease responsible for the death of 11 students this year. Over 40 students have been hospitalized at KNUST Hospital and CAT since the outbreak of the strange health condition late last week. Mr. Ajay says no student will be left out.
For both tutorial staff, non-tutorial staff, students, yesterday we had 1,142. Sorry, that was day 1, Tuesday, 5th, 1,142. And then day 2, we had, that was yesterday, we had 1,848. I cannot give you a date, but we are here. That's all I can say. We'll remain here, so we are giving the orders to move.
So does it mean that you may have to extend your activities here?
Sure.
The medical team finds challenging attempt by some parents to take their children home on grounds of continuing the medication outside the school.
I wouldn't say it's been difficult, but there are challenges in every situation. We've had challenges with parents who want to take the medication home and give to their wards, but we don't have that order from our superiors. We are to dose the drug and directly observe therapy, so we are not giving it out to them. That has been the main challenge for this exercise.
Some parents insist on taking the medication home to save transportation costs. Justice Frimpong is one of them.
Tiafina omutiti enkurano tiafi de manya duru ni bi ye bete mam tu na aka ne de temehwan hwe said that
they open to if you say almost say there be an sakra.
I learned there is an outbreak of a strange disease here. I have received 1 tablet from my daughter, but I want more medicine that can last for the next 2 days. But they say no. I don't think I can afford TNT from Accra every day. I want to take my doctor home to continue treatment elsewhere.
Well, the Health Ministry has just confirmed the outbreak that has so far claimed 4 lives at Kumasi Academy in recent days is an acute respiratory infection. It says out of 19 samples tested at the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, 12 of them tested positive for influenza type A, which is an H1N1 strain. Addressing the media a short while ago, the health minister said it was necessary to keep the students on campus and vaccinate them to contain the situation. Joining us, Komla Adom is at the news conference and joins me live. Hello, Komla. Now, how does the ministry plan to keep the students on campus when parents are bent on taking them home?
Come again, Israel. I didn't get you clearly.
And I'm asking, how is the ministry planning to keep the students on campus when parents are bent on taking them home? Or before we actually come to that, can you tell us this, the H1N1 strain that the ministry is saying that has caused the death? Because we have not been clear about what caused it for some time now.
Well, according to the Minister for Health, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, he says out of the 19 blood samples that were taken to Noguchi Institute for testing, 12 of those proved to have the H1N1 pandemic strain. And about 2 hours ago, he told the press conference that the latest results from Noguchi, that was about 2 hours ago, revealed that there was indeed the presence of the H1N1 pandemic strain, influenza strain, in the samples that were tested at Noguchi. So, Israel, what it is that out of the 19 samples that were taken to Noguchi, 12 of those confirmed have H1N1 influenza type A pandemic strain.
That sounds like bird flu.
Well, the health minister didn't categorically say, and neither did the Director General of the Noguchi Memorial Institute nor the Director General of the Ghana Health Service confirm that it is bird flu. They were playing safe, so all they said was that there was a presence of the H1N1 pandemic strain present in the tested samples at Noguchi Memorial Hospital.
Is that conclusive for them, or they intend to do further tests?
Well, according to Kweku Agyeman-Manu, there are still ongoing checks and tests at various centers. He mentions that there are tests going on at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital in Kumasi, also the National Public Health Reference Laboratory in Accra, and also the Kumasi PH Lab. And some 6 samples are at the Kumasi PH Lab at the moment, and 4 other blood samples have been sent to the National Public Health Reference Laboratory in Accra, while they are still awaiting results from samples that were sent to the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital as of now in Israel.
All right, so now let's look at the plan for retaining the students on campus. The minister is insisting that the students should be kept there.
Well, that's correct, Israel. The minister mentions that the incubation period for the causative organism for the influenza is 4 days. And so in 4 days, people who come into contact with the causative organism are likely to be struck down. And so he is saying that as part of measures to address the situation, the students are supposed to be quarantined in the school. No student should be allowed to step out of the school to go home, as was initially claimed. And so there are plans by the ministry to procure some vaccines as soon as possible to be deployed to Kumasi Academy to begin vaccinating the pupils, teachers, and other workers on the campus. And also he talks about contact tracing and contact management, which he says the Ghana Health Service, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and other stakeholders, are currently undergoing to ensure that students who were asked to go home at the initial stages of the outbreak are brought back home so that their condition is properly managed to prevent a massive outbreak, Israel.
Okay, but as it stands now, and from the explanations they're giving us with the contact tracing and all, it means that there is the possibility that there are people who are out there, or some of the students who may have gone home and sent and infected other people who are not on campus.
Right, that's correct, Israel. And it is as a result of that the reps from the Ghana Health Service and the Noguchi Memorial Institute have been telling us at this presser that they are intensifying the efforts to do this contact tracing, and they are taking a step further to continuously do contact management. And so they are not only monitoring the contacts of people who may have been infected by the influenza causative organism, but they're going a step further to actually go ahead and manage these contacts so that they will prevent a spread of the influenza virus.
All right, thank you very much. That was Komla Adom, and he was at a news conference called by the Health Ministry, addressed by the Health Ministry, that says that they have been able to identify what caused the recent deaths at Kumasi Academy. They're referring to an H1N1 strain of influenza. That's what we're looking at the moment. Now, on our top story, back to our top story, the issue of people unable to buy electricity, or prepaid customers unable to buy electricity. As I indicated earlier, we have put up a post on Facebook. If you're one of those affected by the computer glitch and have managed to keep your phone on, actually, because for days you wouldn't have electricity, please get to our Facebook wall and share that experience with us. We will be reading it with the rest, sharing it with the rest of the world. Right now, though, we're taking a break and we'll bring you business news. But subsequently in the bulletin, the minority in Parliament is unhappy that ministers in President Akufo-Addo's government are failing to appear when summoned.
Hello, good evening to you. Time now for business. Deputy Trade and Industry Minister Carlos Ahenkorah has commissioned a $16 million packaging manufacturing plant by Fon Packaging Ventures in Accra. Carlos Ahenkorah says the plant will boost government's industrialization agenda.
The opening of the packaging factory by Fon Packaging Ventures brought together several stakeholders in the paper industry. Sitting across a 2.5-acre land space, the $16 million factory has a capacity to fabricate 3 million cartons in a month. In an interview with Joy Business, Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Carlos Ahenkorah said packaging is key in government's industrialization agenda.
Government of President Akufo-Addo is directing the growth of this country towards industrialization, and you cannot have an industrial transformation without first and foremost developing the packaging sector. So everything that's going to be produced, everything that's going to be manufactured, we need to go through some kind of packaging activity. If the packaging is not up to standard, if it does not hold that position on the market edge, it's going to create a whole lot of setback for the whole industrialization agenda. So having such factory for packaging products, I think is going to enhance the industrialization.
On his part, chairman of the company, Frederick Osei Intim, added that besides the timeliness of the factory for the nation's industrial drive, the packaging industry has a huge potential as income levels continue to rise.
If you take the whole world, presently in the paper industry, there are only two areas growing, tissue and packaging. As incomes rise, as people move to the middle class, like is happening in Ghana, they don't shop from the market, they shop from malls. What takes the product from the factory to the mall is in a carton. A lot of people are buying online. Packages are delivered in cartons. So manufacturing is growing, and it grows with income. America has the highest per capita in terms of packaging because they have the highest income in the world. So packaging and tissue are related directly to income levels.
Globally, the packaging market is estimated to total $424 billion with an annual growth rate of 3.5%. Out of this figure, packaging made of paper, cardboard and paperboard accounts for the lion's share of 46%.
Former Chief Executive of GRIDCO, William Amuna, is proposing implementation of the net metering system for the ECG to effectively manage power supply from renewable energy sources. He said it is time the country adapts renewable energy sources through the introduction of innovative systems to ensure reliable electricity supply. William Amuna spoke to Joy Business in an interview at the launch of an off-grid power solution equipment. Ebenezer Sabute has more, and his report is read to you.
The decision by government to introduce off-grid solar generation into the national grid is receiving support from the private sector and investors. The introduction of Exiron, an off-grid power solution equipment, is another step towards pushing the agenda for renewables. In an interview with Joy Business, former Chief Executive of GRIDCO, William Amuna, believes the time has come for all to embrace the idea of renewable energy into the national grid.
Everybody is doing that now. Many people are putting that on their buildings because it appears to be more reliable than the grid sometimes. You know, once your battery system is working, you always have your lights on. So I think there's quite a big market in Ghana.
But can the ECG sustain the kind of investment that is coming in?
Well, there's something they call a net metering. Okay, you could have it in your house, but in a way it's connected to the grid. So the excess power during the day is sent into the grid, and then at night you can take it back. I have recommended that when ECG stores about, say, 10 kilowatt hours from somebody's system, they could give back, say, about 5 kilowatt hours, because they are using the ECG system as a storage. And if they don't do that, they may run into problems financially. So I think the net metering thing will solve that issue.
On his part, Associate Professor at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Mechanical Engineering Department, Essel Ben Hagan, said the government should ensure that the enabling environment for investment in the sector is created for all.
I don't see why not. I would rather say that it is something that we should push as a nation. So if it is not there, we should do everything to make it be there. Because I mentioned that renewable energy has several non-financial advantages. It includes the fact that it's an indigenous resource. If even something happens and all our borders are closed, all our renewable energy resources remain within our borders. The sun won't go away. Our biomass and municipal waste will remain in the country. Our wind resource remains within our borders. It's an indigenous resource, and its application adds a lot of energy security, for our energy supply, system. So renewable energy is a must.
Exeron is said to be the next solution for provision of renewable energy in West Africa.
Some players in the insurance sector are advancing steps to institute a comprehensive policy for underwriting bonds. According to the president of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana, Reverend Asante Mafua Ahenkra, the policy seeks to facilitate business among insurance companies and business owners. Here's Bismarck Awusa's report.
According to the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana, CIIG, the role of insurance companies acting as guarantors for contractors and other businesses over the past years have posed as a liquidity threat. This has resulted in some of these companies shying away from providing insurance covers in this area. It is reported that some insurance companies which ventured into this type of risks in the past have regretted the action. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of a public lecture, President of the Institute, Reverend Asante Mafua Ahenkra, says the move to institute a comprehensive policy will facilitate the relationship between insurance companies and business owners.
When bonds are called upon, the severity, in other words, the amount that could be called in question can be quite huge. Now, when you are faced with a situation where you have to cough out a lot of money at a go, it could cripple or hit your liquidity and cripple your company. With the best of intentions, some companies have gone out with the hope that these contractors will honor their obligations. But surprisingly, some of them take advances in mobilization, and then off they go. And so that is why we need to look at how we are underwriting and to check whether, because the companies must survive, and so that they can provide the services to other businesses. And so we have to look inward and ask ourselves. And I think what is coming up basically is that we need to look at our wording and close ranks and make sure that people don't get away easily. Because the default is not with the insurance company. The defaults are from the contractors who may not have performed what they are required to perform.
On her part, President of the Ghana Insurance Association, Aretha Duku, says insurance companies should consider their financial capacity when they want to underwrite bonds.
I think bonds should be underwritten, but what we have learned is that you have to make sure that, one, you have put your house in order, i.e. making sure your underwriters understand the risk they are undertaking, make sure that you have reinsurances in place, and that bonds more or less is ensuring the integrity of an individual or a company. And that's very difficult. So you need to make sure that you have certain things to help you, i.e. maybe the financial, say 3 years financials of the company in question, to ascertain that they have the capability, the financial capability, as well as the capacity, the human capacity to execute whatever bond you're given on the contract that's to be taken.
The public lecture was under the theme, Bonds to Underwrite or Not. This was under the auspices of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana, CIIG.
And that's all in business tonight. Many thanks for your company. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafe. Good evening.
Now, work in Parliament on Thursday was adjourned after less than 1 hour after 5 ministers who had been summoned to answer questions failed to show up. The majority claims the ministers had sought the permission of the House to absent themselves, but the minority was unhappy, accusing government of not taking Parliament serious.
Is he telling this House that all the 5 ministers of state have written letters that none of them, not even one, can avail himself before the House and respond to the questions that are being asked of them? We should take the business of this House very seriously. Mr. Speaker, today is 7th December. Mr. Speaker, government business must be taken seriously. And this is the House of Parliament. This is the heart of democracy. This is why 7th December we went into the poll. Ghanaians went to queue to vote for you to come here and come and do this work. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the other people, business committee cannot go and sit and arrange business for the day. We can't, and not even one out of all the businesses that were slated for today is ready for execution. I find it very difficult to understand it. He should come again. Minister for Railways, Minister for Lands and Forestry, Minister for Employment, Minister for Regional Organization, all of them, none of them is ready to answer questions. We can't take this just 1 year. If you can handle the power, give it to us. We are ready.
Majority Leader Oseche Mensah-Bonsu on his part accused the minority of mischief over their claim that the ministers disrespected the House. He says Thursday's sitting was brief because MPs had to go to participate in the funeral ceremony of their Asante Hene's deceased mother in Kumasi.
I think that statement was mischief inspired. I mean, we all do know that we have decided that will be part of the event in Kumasi, the funeral of the Asante Hene. So we decided that we should have this day count, though, as a sitting day. That is why we migrated a lot of the business that otherwise we should have transacted today to tomorrow and even Monday. And they know. That's why I am most surprised that they bring this up as if there's no business. Indeed, you know, the speaker has traveled out. So it's the first deputy speaker who's been holding the fort. But he's not here. He's already at the airport. And I have to rush and change into a black and then, ferry myself to Kumasi. So it was born out of the event in Kumasi today that we collectively decided that we should migrate the business for today to tomorrow and Monday. When it comes to me, I don't deal with individual members of parliament. I deal with my colleague, my counterpart, the minority leader. So it was the one that I communicated to, that this is it. And because of the events tomorrow, you saw how he himself was dressed, and initially there were difficulties procuring seats for us on the plane. So they were thinking of getting the first flight. That became difficult, and eventually they were able to secure some seats for the afternoon flight. So that is why you still find me here. I'm dashing to my office to change. So it is informed by that, the event in Kumasi. It has nothing to do with the Thanksgiving here today, because the Thanksgiving was slated to end at 9. So
the Ghana Police Service is ramping up security in the country this Yuletide so people can go about their festivities with as little worry as possible. But quite apart from the regular policing to prevent crime, the police intends to also clamp down on motorbike riders who flagrantly disregard traffic regulations. Addressing a news conference at the Joint Police Operations Center at the police headquarters Thursday morning, Commissioner of Police in charge of operations, Dr. George Dampari, said the IGP is particularly concerned about the errant motorbike riders. Latif Idris sat in the news conference for Joy News.
The Yuletide usually records a lot of more road crashes, often because there is a lot more activity, which translates into a lot more commuting and therefore a lot more vehicular movement. but it is a period that also sees a lot more people driving under the influence of alcohol. Also mindful of the fact that criminal activity also increases during the period, the police says it is deploying 14,200 personnel across the country to undertake special operations ahead of the Yuletide.
We are deploying progressively. And as you could see on the field, the final debriefing and briefing for the personnel at the national operation level or department is being done. And from tomorrow, you see most of them out there, like we said, on the instructions of the IG, going to support the MTTDs and the traffic management and other strategies that we don't want to share. You will feel it. To the criminals, we want to sign that message to you. We are coming. We are coming bigger than you have ever known. We are coming for you at the 3 places we know we can find you. Your hideout, the place you operate, and where you dispose of your booties.
The indiscipline on the roads, according to Dr. George Dampare, is a matter of grave concern to the IGP. He admits the police has serious challenges with logistics, but will do their utmost best.
We have come to believe in that concept, that whatever we have, we can make the best of it. And we should not offer any excuses. But whilst we also pray that the full complement of resources will one day show up. But if they will not show up because we have limited resources, we will make sure that we will not be despair. I will do our best to make you happy.
Are we going to see motorbikes now respecting traffic regulations? Because as it stands now, they cross red lines and all of that.
That is very interesting and very important question. And there are so many dynamics we've looked at. And we keep seeing how best we can get the necessary logistics to deal with it once and for all. It is something that the IGP is deeply troubled about, because we can't see why we cannot respect just a simple regulation within a period of 1.5 minutes waiting.
He added the police will welcome support from both government and private individuals that will help them deliver world-class policing as part of the transformation agenda by the IGP and government.
Joy News Prime.
And in the headlines, the Electricity Company of Ghana is blaming a server malfunction for the glitch that rendered the service cards of over 80,000 customers in Accra inactive and unable to be used to buy power. Despite claims by the ECG that it is resolving the problem, the customers say they still can't buy power. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission is meanwhile threatening sanctions if the ECG fails to resolve the problem. Now, if you're one, we've been asking you to get onto our Facebook page to post some of your comments, and we have some of the comments coming through. We asked you to share with us if you are one of those affected by the ECG glitch, and we've had some of the comments coming through. We'll be sharing that with you in a bit. Meanwhile, H1N1 strain has been identified. The cause of the recent mysterious deaths at Kumasi Academy would be. We spoke with our correspondent who was at the news conference we just ended a short while ago. Former President John Mahama has been ordered to vacate a land he's presently occupying, which the defense minister says belongs to the military.
I think that the
Ahinkra. In business, Deputy Trade and Industry Minister Carlos Ahinkra has commissioned the $16 million packaging manufacturing plant by Phone Packaging Ventures and says it would boost government's industrialization agenda. Right, so let's get onto our Facebook page and get to share with you some of the comments that we've had come through so far. So we have Fusheni says this is nonsensical where our leaders, can't they for once be proactive? It is very painful to live in this country. This clearly depicts why young Africans continue to perish in the Mediterranean Sea. Low-key Raymond says this is too bad. Dumso is over, but getting access to electricity has been an issue. ECG, please stay on point. PRC, Where are you? The PRC, and Seidu says the PRC has no option but to sanction the ECG for making customers queue for days. This has been caused by negligence and heads must roll. He brings in another post. And then Nabing says, leaders dancing while citizens suffer, democracy for you. Majority suffer where few and joy. Now, I was hoping that I was going to get some people who have actually been affected, but we haven't had any share that with us so far.